This is When You Were Everything, chapter The Stacks, part 1, pages 64 to 70. Layla and I compared our schedules after homeroom and quickly realized that was the only class we had together. "This sucks," she said, pouting. Pouting is a way of behaving when you don't get what you want. She actually had a little tantrum or fit in the middle of the hall, throwing her backpack and semi-shouting about the world being unfair until a teacher came out of a classroom and said, "Miss Hassan, what seems to be the problem?" When we parted ways, we hugged like we'd never see each other again, and I won't lie, I felt a little weepy, or like I was going to cry. Before she walked away, I said, "Let's meet in the school library after last period to do our homework." She nodded and mouthed, "You over everyone," before she walked away. On the other hand, in addition to homeroom, I had 3 classes with Dom: chemistry, geometry, and AP literature with Miss Novak. When I stepped into English, Dom was already there, sitting in the front row, a book open on his desk. "Hey," he said when I walked in, like we were old friends or something. "Hi," I muttered, still a little annoyed about how different my and Layla's schedules were. "What are you reading?" he asked me. I grabbed a seat in the row behind him, diagonal from his desk, which was front and center, so that he had to twist almost all the way around to see me. "Othello," I told him. "It's one of my favorites." He pressed his lips together. "So you like betrayal, huh?" he whispered. "No, what I like is the language." I recited, or read from memory, a few of my favorite lines. "What wound did ever heal but by degrees? She gave me for my pain a world of kisses. Men should be what they seem." Dom poked out his bottom lip like he was impressed. "But I won't lie," I continue. "The jealousy, betrayal, and revenge are pretty entertaining." Dom let out a breathy laugh. Okay, Miss Novak said, calling class to order. "Welcome to AP English Literature and Composition. This year we'll explore novels, poetry, and plays from different time periods in order to prepare you for the AP exam at the end of the year. Keep in mind, this is a college preparatory course, so this isn't easy stuff. But all of you are in this class because I believe my regular literature class wouldn't be challenging enough for your reading and writing levels." Miss Novak winked at me and I grinned. I wouldn't say I was a teacher's pet, or that I was Miss Novak's favorite, but she definitely liked me. She and my dad were really good friends, and after I aced her class last year, I knew I wanted to take her every year I was at Chisholm Center. She passed around a syllabus, and I read the list of required reading to myself. I was really excited to see Hamlet as one of the first plays we'd be diving into. We'll spend most of the year learning to interpret the meanings behind the language and the works on the list in front of you, and learning to write about these interpretations. In other words, welcome to the art of coming up with convincing bullcrap, people. The class laughed. "In all seriousness, though, it's going to be hard, but it's going to be fun, I promise." The rest of the day made me forget about the morning's weirdness, so when I stepped into the library after school to meet Layla, I wasn't thinking about homeroom or Sloan. But when I saw Layla sitting on the floor right by the door texting, I couldn't help but wonder who was on the receiving end. Luckily, Miss Novak was there too, and she was leaning over the circulation desk talking to my dad. "The application is pretty straightforward," I heard her say. "Is she telling you about London?" I asked, skipping over to his desk. The application for the Young Scholars Program at Shakespeare's Globe was up on his computer. I gleefully clapped my hands. "It sounds perfect, doesn't it?" I asked him. Miss Novak pulled up some pictures next, all the photos she took while she was there over the summer. The 3 of us, me, Daddy, and Layla, crowded around the computer to see. Daddy shook his head and straightened his glasses. "It sounds perfect for you, baby girl." "Daddy," I said, looking around. I hated when he called me baby girl at school. I glanced at Layla and we both cringed. "Oh, right. Cleo, he said, correcting himself. I reached out and tugged his tie. I was explaining that you have to write a short statement of interest, and that the deadline is any time between now and the end of October. I think you'll find out if you're accepted in December, Miss Novak said to me. You'll read it, right? My statement of interest, when I'm done, I asked her. I want to make sure it's perfect. Duh, she said, and I giggled. Stacks? Layla asked after we'd gone through about 100 of Miss Novak's photos, and I was in a full-on London-induced trance. I tore myself away. See you later, Novak, I said. Daddy, come grab me when you're headed home. We walked back to our favorite corner of the library, and I started spreading out my books and papers and pens. How was the rest of your day? I asked Layla. She had started taking her stuff out of her bag, but once everything was unpacked, she didn't open any of her notebooks. She was back on her phone, texting again. Okay, I guess. She put her phone down and turned to me, dipping her head and sweeping all her messy waves up into a bun. AP Calc is going to be crazy hard, and I weirdly have a bunch of classes with Sloan. All the kids at Chisholm are brainy or smart, but Layla and I are brainy in different ways. She's great with numbers. I'm better with words, but I didn't think this would divide us in any real way until college. I wonder if Sloan is on the same track as Layla, because she's into math and science too. Sounds like a nightmare, I said. I meant the math class, but it sounded like I was talking about Sloan. Layla forced out a rush of air before she was able to speak the words, harsh, see! I meant calc! Sure you did. Her phone buzzed again, and when she picked it up, she grinned. Her fingers tapped across the screen. She paused. She laughed. Sorry, she said, glancing at me, but she kept texting. I have a bunch of classes with Dom, I said. That got her attention, and she put the phone face down on the floor. Were you staring at him as much in those classes as you were in homeroom? Ha ha, you're so funny, I said. Layla nudged my arm. I'm just messing with you. He's cute. Are you interested? Not sure yet, I said. I'm more concerned with not screwing up in Novak's class and getting into the Shakespeare program at the moment. Layla nodded. Well, you're bloody brilliant. You're quite a shoo-in, Chloe Baker, if you ask me. They should pick you over everyone. Love, always and forever. She said it all theatrically, in a much better British accent than she'd been using during the summer. Whoa, I said, staring at her. You didn't stutter at all just now. Layla smirked. Yeah, me and my speech therapist have been trying a bunch of new things out, including accents and this thing called smooth speech. Since I don't stutter when I sing, she thinks I can trick my brain into thinking it's singing by speaking in an accent or in a sort of singy voice. That's so cool, I said. But it's weird that you don't sound like you. Not the stuttering, just, your normal voice. Layla shrugged, her mouth flopping open and closed. A block. She pointed to her own mouth, rolled her eyes, frustrated. Eventually she said, I'm going to keep trying it out, and we'll see. I don't think I'll talk like that all the time, or use accents or whatever, but it could be useful for stuff in class, presentations or reading or stuff like that, Totally. Okay, we should get some work done. I already had easily 4 or 5 hours of reading, even though it was the first day. I pulled my earbuds out of my bag. Want to listen? Layla nodded and tucked one of the earbuds into her ear, and we leaned back against the closet bookshelf. The closest bookshelf. I put on Billie Holiday. With the first novel I had to read for Novak's class in hand, I watched Layla open her calculus book and grab a pencil. We'd only been working for about 20 minutes when her phone buzzed again. She picked it up and started giggling, but I just tried to focus hard on the words on the pages in front of me. How much longer do you think we'll be in here? She asked. Does there need to be a time limit? I thought we'd do what we normally do and stay until my dad left. Layla bit her lip. I might head out sooner than that, she said. Okay, I replied. It's just that... She put her phone down and looked at me. Her dark eyes seemed excited. Sloan and Valeria are going to this record store that just opened, and I thought it could be fun. Oh, I said. But I won't go if you don't want me to go. I didn't want her to. But what I wanted more for her was for her not to want to go. Let me say that again. I didn't want her to. But what I wanted more was for her not to want to. That's better. I picked up my phone and changed the music, just so I didn't have to look at her while I lied. No, it's cool, I said. Layla grinned, and the fact that she grinned made the pit of my belly ache dully, distantly. She wasn't paying enough attention to me to read between the lines. To read between the lines means to understand what someone's saying, but not with their words. She wanted to go so badly that she didn't even notice I wasn't telling the truth. She retied her Chuck Taylor shoes and pulled out my earbud just as Ella Fitzgerald's rendition of Over the Rainbow started to play. I didn't realize that she would be leaving right away, but she started packing her stuff into her bag a second later. Oh, I said again, so low she didn't hear me. Ella's voice and Layla moving away from me made me think of Gigi and other precious things I'd let slip through my fingers. I swallowed hard and sat up straighter. Thanks, Z, she said, and then she was gone.